All right, today we're going to practice another Iyengar practice, and this one is for legs, so it's yoga leg day. I'm going to start in Tadasana standing pose. Again, this practice is going to go about 5 to 8 breaths for each standing posture, and then when I get to the inversions, we'll do about 10 to 20 breaths. So if you need to stop the video and go at your own pace or move ahead, please feel free to do that. And then also grab some props that you think you might use, so a chair, and a couple blocks. A strap might be handy for this one, and we're going to start in Tadasana. So get yourself ready and start in standing pose. When you're ready, big toes can touch, or you can have your feet slightly farther apart. Heels press down into the floor, and then spread out your toes and set them down from the pinky toe into the big toe, so that you can feel a big toe box, broad surface area on your feet. And pressing down into your feet, feel your glutes engage, feel your low back relax, so you're not flattening out your spine. And try not to press your thighs back and over squeeze your thighs. Lift your kneecaps up, so the action in your legs is coming from the press down in your feet. That's going to be the case in every single standing pose that we work into today. All of the action in your legs and all of the lift and length that you get in the top of your body is going to come from a push down into your feet. So constantly pushing down into your feet in every standing pose. And then lift your chest through your shoulders. More than pulling your shoulders back, take your chest forward. Right, the first pose we'll move into, or the second pose, is Vrikshasana tree pose. So I'm going to balance on my left foot and start to pull my right foot up the front of my left thigh. And then you can use your right hand for assistance. Turn your right toes back to your left heel. Your right heel is pointing forward. The right knee is not pulling back. So in fact, push your knee out to the side more at an angle, and then squeeze your hips together, squeeze your legs together, push into your feet. So even though your right foot is on your left thigh, that's part of the foundation. You can reach your arms up if you'd like. You can keep your arms next to your side. Keep dropping your tailbone, drop your right hip, lift your left front hip. So drop the right back hip, the back of your right hip, so be the glutes. Use your triceps to strengthen out your arms, so the arms are helping with some weight distribution and balance. And then exhale, release your hands, release your right foot. Tadasana pose, just for a moment between sides. Redistribute the weight evenly between the 2 feet. So feel your right foot connecting back on the floor again. Okay, and then I'm going to take my left leg up the front of my right thigh and slide it up. Once I can't get it up any higher, then I'm going to start to help with my hands. Then I'm going to turn my heel forward. So on the heel, my toes rotate down and angle back towards my right heel. Try not to let this foot push your right hip out. So pull back in with your outer right hip, not the inside of your right thigh, outer right hip, and then press down. So push down with your right leg, and then press in with your left foot and squeeze in with the right hip. And again, you can keep your hands outside or heart, and then you maybe reach them up to the ceiling. This left knee, again, you're not trying to push it back. You're taking it out slightly at an angle. So there's more external rotation than there is abduction. Pull your front ribs in, lift your chest, and again, about 5 to 8 breaths here. If you practice Ujjayi, you can incorporate the Ujjayi breathing, that hushing sound on the back of your throat. Try not to let that left butt cheek lift, so push your left glutes down and lift the front of your right hip bone up, so it's that front ASIS bone, lifting up towards your ribs. And press into the entire toe box, so not just in the ball of your right foot, that'll actually cause your foot to collapse in. So really pushing into all of the foot, the heel, ball of the foot, even the toes. The toes are there for balance, so grip them. I can't stand that. Don't grip your toes, is what they're there for. You're supposed to be gripping your toes. That's why we have them, so we don't fall. Okay, and then release your arms and release your left foot down. Tadasana pose, mountain pose, Tadasana. Otherwise known as Samastitihi, pose of equal balance. Okay, so then I'm going to open my feet out and move into the next posture, Trikonasana, Uttita Trikonasana. My left toes are going to angle in, right toes are going to turn all the way to the front. And then as you can lift your arms up here just to check in, so I was just going to rush right into it as I do everything. So first, take a moment to feel that your hips are angled in their respective toes. The right hip is following the right second toe. Left hip is following the left second toe. So there's kind of an angle at your hips. And then open your arms and twist your torso instead of your hips. Then from here, exhale, right hand to your shin or your big toe. And then take your left arm up to the ceiling. Squeeze your right thigh. Pull your right kneecap up, but push down into your feet. So as soon as I pushed right down into my feet, I felt myself lift. I don't need to be that low in this pose. There's no need for it. Lengthen out your right side and pull your chest through your shoulders. Gaze can go up to your left thumb. And then inhale, come up to stand. Turn your right toes back in for a moment here in this wide leg position. Get your balance. And then you can turn your right toes in. Left toes turn straight back. So 90 degrees, rotating them out. So your left heel and your right heel are pretty lined up. And we're not. And then again, your hips line up with those respective second toes. And then your torso is opening, not your hips. Squeeze your thighs, pull the kneecaps up so you're not locking your knees back, you're pulling the thighs up, and then push down. Exhale, Trikonasana. And keep pushing down into your feet, both feet equally, all surface areas that are touching. You turn your gaze up to your ceiling, or up to your right thumb, and then try not to let your left shoulder come up to your left ear. So pull the left shoulder back into its joint and lift the chest through. Inhale to come up, and then we'll turn this to face all the way forward. So revolve triangle next, Parvrit Trikonasana. Parvrit Trikonasana. I'm going to turn the left toes in a lot now, and my right toes are forward. I've got a shorter stance, so my feet just kind of, it just kind of did it as I turned. So situate your feet if they didn't cooperate with you on the turn. You might want a chair on the outside of your right leg or a couple blocks. Inhale, lift your left hand, right hand's on your hip, and then as you exhale, fold halfway. Inhale here, pull your belly up, pull your right hip back, push down into both feet, left hand to the floor, outside of your right foot, right hand to the ceiling, and look up to your right thumb if that's available in your neck. Use your chair here or the blocks if you can't hit the floor. Keep both legs straight and push into both feet. And then your next inhale, start to come up and turn. We're going to go to the second side. So right toes angle forward almost. So there's still an angle in the right foot, but they're almost straight forward. They're just slightly out to the side. So that's the same for your hips then. Your left hip is more straightforward. The right hip is angled and pointing in the second toe direction of that right foot. So we're not trying to square the hips and then jack up that ankle. Okay. Squeeze the thighs, push down into your feet, left hand on your hip, right hand inhale. Then on your exhale, push into both feet. Halfway, inhale, lengthen, and then exhale. Take your right hand to the outside of your left foot. Pull that left hip back a little bit. You're not trying to square the hips off or jam your hips. And then open your left arm. Breathe. Stop talking. Squeeze your thighs, push into your feet. And then lengthen your torso away from your hips. So you're not forward folding or side bending. You're twisting. Okay, and then inhale, come up to stand. Hands to hips. Okay, I'm gonna walk my feet farther apart now so I can go into warrior one. So for this one, I'm gonna angle my left toes in again, just like I did for Trikonasana, and my right toes forward. Bend your right knee. Inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling. Lift your chest. You can lift your gaze if you feel like you need a longer stance. Maybe it wasn't quite long enough. Mine really wasn't. And then take your hands to your hips. Hands behind your back. Straighten your right leg. Exhale, fold over your right leg. You can take reverse prayer here if you practice that. And then inhale, bend your right knee. Release your arms and straighten out your feet back to the edge of your mat. We'll move off to the left side for warrior one. So you can start to turn your right toes in, left toes point out. And then again, if you need to take the stance a little longer, it doesn't always work out well in that transition. Left knee bends, right heel is pressing down, ball of the right foot pressing down, pinky toe side of the right foot pressing down. So basically the entire sole of both feet pressing down. And then inhale, warrior one, reach your arms, bend into that left knee, but press back into your right foot. And take your arms behind your back or right to your hips first. Straighten out your left leg. Hands can come back. And then forward, fold out over your left leg. Try not to let your left hip drop, so keep lifting the left hip up to the ceiling. If you're taking reverse prayer, maybe just stop halfway, set the reverse prayer up. Keep pushing down into both feet, and then fold out over your left leg. If you're in reverse prayer, push your hands together using your biceps so your shoulders don't collapse. And then bend your left knee to come up, release your arms, turn your feet back to face the edge of your mat. I'm actually gonna take my feet together just to give it a break. Tadasana or mountain pose or Samasthiti. And then we'll take the feet apart again. You can step or hop apart. You're gonna turn your left toes in, right toes turn out 90 degrees, warrior two. So heel to heel alignment. Again, the left hip is turning and pointing in the direction of your left toes. Second toe especially, right hip, second toe, right knee, second toe, arm, second toe. Left arm, though, comes up behind you, so the two arms are in line. Bend down. So instead of bending forward with your knee, bend down. So your hips equally drop. Press into both feet equally, and then your torso is opening, not that left hip. Keep your right knee from turning in. So keep pressing your right knee to the right side of your mat without lifting up the inner right heel. Parshvakonasana, Uttita Parshvakonasana. Right hand to the floor outside of your right leg. Left arm up overhead. Turn your ribs open. Keep pressing back to that left foot and try not to let your right hip pop out behind you. Keep pushing into your right arm with your right thigh. Lengthen your inner right thigh and squeeze your inner left thigh up. Inhale, come back up to stand. Straighten out that right leg. Give your feet a break. Maybe shorten your stance for a moment. Right, and then we'll take the wider stance if you've kind of taken a break from that. Turn your right toes in, left toes point back, left knee bends, so it's heel to heel alignment here. And then again, my hips and toes are pointing in the same direction. The left knee is also tracking that same second toe. Left hand comes up and tracks with it, and the right arm presses back. So the two arms are in the same line. Squeeze your upper shoulder blade muscles toward each other. Hug your spine with the muscles, not the shoulder blades themselves. Turn your right ribs open and keep your left knee from following. Uttita Parshvakonasana. Exhale, left hand to the floor. Right arm stretches out overhead. Push your left hip under. Squeeze your right thigh. Bend your left knee forward. Push into your left arm with your left leg if you're using a block outside of your left foot here. Hopefully it was handy. If not, get it and cash up. Gaze can go up to the right fingertips, but try not to lift your chin up. So keep your chin still in line with your right shoulder. Squeeze that right thigh. Push into both feet. Okay, inhale, come up. Give those feet a break. Tadasana, mountain pose. Shake it off. Okay, and then you can take your feet apart here, step or hop. Turn your right toes forward, left heel, left toes turn in, warrior one. That was really cute. Warrior one, get your feet situated without hopping around like a fool. And then warrior three, shift forward, lift your left leg. Press back through your left foot, press down into your right foot. Gaze up towards your thumbs, pull your shoulders open. You can always have your hands out to the side or to heart. I feel like that's worse. Shouldn't have moved them. 2 more breaths. And then set it down. Warrior one. And press to straight leg. Southern accent comes in. Turn to your left, left toes point back, right toes in. Warrior one. And then warrior three, but feel yourself get situated here first. When you're ready, shift forward, pull those shoulders back right away. Push into that left foot and lift your right leg and imagine you're still pushing back through your right foot. So whether the toes are pointed or ankles flexed, I don't care. And land back down on your right foot. Warrior one, inhale. And then straighten your left leg. Breathe. All right, we'll do one more balancing pose, half moon. So left toes angle in, right toes angle back. Try not to let the hips drop like mine just did. Lift your right hip up, open your arms. Trikonasana. Exhale. If you're going to use a block, have it handy. And then bend your right knee and take your right hand out diagonally 6 inches. Palm can be flat or fingertips on the floor or block. Maybe turn your gaze up to your left thumb. Press into both feet, even though the one foot's lifted. Land back on your left foot. Warrior 2. Press to straight leg. Back to the wide leg stand. Side 2. Left foot turns to the left, 90. Right toes angle in. Lift that left hip up. Open your arms. Trikonasana just for a moment. And then bend your left knee and take your left hand out. Again, about 6 to 8 inches diagonally from your left pinky toe, so that you can use that as leverage to push your left ribs through. And you can take your gaze up. Kind of lift your right foot up so that it's at an angle with your head. Bend your left knee so you can land back on your right foot, warrior 2. And then straighten your left leg. Okay, and then take your feet back in. Standing pose. Okay, so I'm going to come to the top of the mat. Whew. Take the feet apart. Hips width. Inhale. And then exhale, fold down to grab the big toes. Padangusthasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. So in this one, bend your elbows out away from each other. Pull your belly up away from your thighs. So I wanted you to see the side view. So you can pull your belly up away from your thighs. And then chin or nose towards shins. Or forehead towards shins. Okay, inhale all the way up. Release your big toes, of course. Standing pose, mountain. You can take your feet back in if that feels better. The next pose we'll take is the half-bound lotus forward fold. So it's Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana, half-bound lotus forward fold. Okay, so I'm going to start with my right heel coming up to my left hip crease. You're welcome to take the number 4 here and then keep that left knee bent, and then you can forward fold down to the floor or blocks. But if you're taking the number 4 shape, make sure that that left knee is not straightening out. So the left knee is bent so you can get a nice hip opener, and chest and heart are open. And then if your hands are on the blocks or floor, that's fine. All right. So I'm going to take half-bound lotus forward fold. I'm going to take my right heel up to my left hip crease. I'm not pushing my right knee down, I'm just letting it open at its own. My left hand holds top of my right foot. You can take your right hand around for your left arm and stay here and not even worry about the forward fold. Or you can start to bend your left knee, and if your right hand comes down to your right foot, that's great. If not, don't worry about the bind. Take both hands to the floor and take a lotus forward fold without the bind. Once you get to the floor with your left hand, then you can lift your left kneecap up so it's not bent, and then fold. Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana. And then inhale, Lift halfway, bend your left knee. If you've got the half lotus, come out of the number 4 if you're there. Reverse everything, and then set that right foot down. Unbind. Find your balance. Sometimes I get a little woo coming out of that. It's probably because I wasn't breathing when I came up. So make sure you inhale on the lift slowly and not too fast. All right, second side. Number 4 shape or the half lotus shape. Get your blocks handy if you're using them, or if you have a belt or something that you're using to assist in the bind. Heel to hip. Again, I'm going to take my right hand to the top of my left foot, and I'm just going to let this left knee drop. I'm not pushing it down. And then I'm going to bend my left or my right knee so that I can start to take my left hand's over my right hand probably already at this point. But then if I'm bending, I might be able to get that hand down to the foot. Then forward fold without straightening your leg. And then once your fingertips land, you can straighten out the right leg. Inhale. And exhale, fold. Let that left shoulder soften down to the floor so the left ribs are not opening up to the ceiling. Left ribs into left thigh. Push into your right foot a lot and take your forehead towards your shin. Inhale, bend your right knee, half lift, come back up, swap out your hands, and let her go. All right, so I'm gonna come into standing pose, mountain pose, get your balance, get your breath. And then I'm gonna move in through sun salutation A so that we can set up for locust pose, belly back bend. So find your balance first and the equanimity between both feet, equal work, and then push down into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. You can step or shoot back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. So lift your sit bones here, lengthen out that low back. Press out through your hands, press down into your feet. Okay, and then come down to your belly. So you can come to knees and then lower down to your belly. Shalabhasana is the first one, locust pose. So we'll take Shalabhasana C. You can take your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. I'm going to keep the palms of my hands squeezing together so my fingers aren't falling, or my heels of my hands aren't falling apart. And then so you may have to keep your elbows bent in order to do that. Lift your feet, lift your chest, lift your head, lift your thumbs. Squeeze with your butt and squeeze with your thigh or your hamstrings. And then lower down, exhale. And rest your forehead. Okay, Dhanurasana bow pose is next. So bending knees, catching feet. Squeeze your knees together a little bit, they're not touching. And then press your feet up. And then press your feet back. Lift your gaze up. And then lower down, exhale. And then one more back bend, Bhujangasana. Hands next to your ribs, so cobra pose. All 10 toenails press into the mat. So this is where you're pressing into your feet. This is a little different than the standing ones, but you're still pressing into your feet to engage your thighs so that your kneecaps lift. And then inhale, lift from your low back muscles, and then press up through your chest so the upper back bends, not the low back. Elbows are in, not out. Shoulders are not up. They're soft so that the chest can move through. Look up. Exhale, release. And rest on your forehead. Okay, chaturanga. So you're going to push up to hold chaturanga for just a moment. Actually, I'm going to go to plank first. And exhale. You can have knees on the floor here. Chest forward. Flip to the tops of your feet. Upward facing dog. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your hip hamstrings. Let your hoo-ha. Push into the balls of your hands and the heels of your hands, so not just the outer of your hand. And then exhale up and back. Down doggy. Okay, jump through or step through to seated boat pose. Pariparnavasana, full boat. So in boat pose, stay on the front of your sitting bones, not the back. So if you need to keep your hands on the floor, you can even just keep your big toes on the floor and just lift your heels, or you can start to lift your feet. Balance on those sit bones, lift your chest. You can straighten your legs or keep the knees bent. You can also use your hands behind your thighs if your knees are bent, right? So that might help here or here. Half boat to your low back, to your toes with your gaze, arms forward, chest through your shoulders, even though you're rounded slightly in the upper back. Squeeze your thighs, press out with your toes. And then inhale up to seated. Take your legs out in front of you. So we're going to take this pose, Akarna Dhanurasana. I'm going to show you from the side first, and then I'll turn around and show you from the front. We're going to start with the left leg just so you can see. This is where you might want a belt handy. So you could have the belt to your right foot, where you want to grab the big toe or the belt with your right hand, okay, and the right leg stays straight, the right knee doesn't bend. So get a belt and put a belt on if you need it, so that that leg and arm both can stay straight. And then you're going to grab your left big toe with your left fingers and start to pull the knee towards the ear, heel towards the ear, and your left arm back. Back is rounded. And then straighten your left leg up. Bend your left knee. Get out of that nonsense. Whew. All right, so I'll show you from the front for the second side. Staff pose is where I'm starting. Grabbing the left foot, left fingers, so it's the 2 index peace fingers, and then the thumb creating a hook. Same thing, left leg's gonna be straight, so belt around your left foot if you need. And hook the right big toe, and pull the knee up and then the heel up. Elbow pulls back behind you like an archer pulling its bow. Left leg is out and push the back of your left leg down on the floor. All right, leg straight. Elbow still pulling back. Look to your left big toe, or even out beyond. Okay, bend that right knee. Get out of that. Whew, it's fun. Archer's bow, whatever, archer's bows. Okay. So next we'll take Upavishta Konasana. You might want a blanket, and I'm gonna face you so we can open up wide. Yeah, we'll do this. Okay, so wide angle pose, pressing out through the balls of your feet, pushing down to the backs of your knees, backs of your thighs press down. So this is not Samokonasana, which is the legs out. Samokonasana means equal, even angle, and this is not. This should be an angle. So yeah, your legs can come out a little wider, but they don't need to be out any wider than an angle, so this isn't center split. Press out through the balls of your feet, and actually inhaling here and reaching up is fine. Let's just do this. I like this one. Push down through the backs of your legs. Might even squeeze a block between your hands if you want a little bit more fun. And then as you exhale, hands down, and then we'll take it into the forward fold. Maybe you want an inhale here first, and then exhale. You can grab big toes, inhale, and then exhale. And then inhale, come back up. And legs together. All right, so the next pose, Kranchasana. I'll show you this way so I can do my right side first. If you want to sit on a blanket on your left sit bone, you can. A block, be careful though. So we're going to take the right foot back behind, and then all those toes point straight back. So it's like half hero pose. And then I'm going to work on getting this leg up in the air. So I like to start with the left knee bent. I'm actually going to pat up that foot since it's the dumb foot. It's my dumb foot, dumb ankle. Jerk. Just need something under my ankle there. And you could also put something under the left sit bone, so like a blanket is fine. This is a balancing pose, so just be careful with a block. I don't think that's a great idea. So I'm going to try to lift up and then turn that right sit bone back down to the floor. And then here you can just grab your heel, left heel, and interlace your fingers, and then start to push out. And this is fine, maybe a belt around your right foot or left foot, but then pull your shoulders back. You can stay here with your chest up to the ceiling, gaze up to the ceiling, or if you'd like, so we get in the right spot there, you can take your right forearm over, or wrist over the foot, and then grab the wrist. And you've got the bind. Chin to shin, look up to your toes. Release that. And then switch sides. I'm going to turn the other way. Jasin, left foot behind for half hero, little hero shape. And then again, you can start, I'm going to lift up and just kind of get that left sit bone back down on the floor so that my thigh, it's internally rotating, but not so much that my left knee is really pointing in, okay? You want to point as much forward as you can. Then again, here you can interlace, cup the heel. The knee doesn't need to be perfectly straight here, but you could even lean back a little bit and enjoy this, maybe even a belt around your right foot. Again, if you want to take the bind, left wrist to the right foot sole, and then grab with your right hand. Inhale, look up. Exhale. Okay, release your right leg. All right, get your left leg out of there. Next pose we're going to move into then, now we'll move into the inversion, so headstand is next. So if you want to go to the wall, you can take your headstand practice to the wall. And we'll be here for 20 breaths. 20 breaths. So try to slow your breath down in this. And if you need to come out of it every 5-10 breaths, do it, and then you come back up into it for another 5 or 10 breaths. Okay? Elbows under your shoulders, fingers interlaced so that the palms can open up and cup the back of your head. If you're not taking Shirshasana, take the elbow dog with the top of your head just resting on your thumbs, so like even your forehead or eventually the back of your head, right? And then keep lifting your hips up so it's not this. It's trying to get closer. And it's also not this, right? So shoulders are not over your elbows if you're taking that elbow dog version of headstand. Otherwise, head on the floor, the very top of your head, not the back and not the hairline. So it's the middle of your head, closer to the crown, so that you can cup the back of your head with your palms. Flip this over. If you're already there, count your breaths. If not, move on when you're ready. Or if not, catch whatever. You know what I'm saying. Do it when you're ready. 20 breaths. And come down after you finish your 20th breath. And child's pose. Rest. Knees together, forehead in as close to your knees as possible. Arms behind, palms up, shoulders down. Move into shoulder stand, Shalaban. Salam Sarvangasana. Upside down, I can't think. Salam Sarvangasana, supported shoulder stand. If you're using blankets, you can set your shoulders up with some blankets. I'm going to start in a reclining position. Yep, that's got to go. 10 breaths in this one, and then we'll take 10 breaths in plow. Inhale, lift. Use the chair or wall if you're modifying. Push down to the floor with your shoulders and your elbows so your neck is long and no pressure in your neck. Take your feet back over your hips. They're not over your face. You can see them, but they're just not here. So you don't have to look up under your eyebrows to see your feet. You can look down past the tip of your nose to see your feet. Toes overhead, halasana, plow pose. You can interlace your fingers if your feet hit the floor. If not, keep your hands there to support your back. Keep pushing into your shoulders, lengthen out your neck. Get used to your belly or your thighs. Squeeze your thighs so your knees lift. Okay, palms on the floor, roll down. Right, and then we're gonna come into forearm stand, Pincha Mayurasana. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to stay in it without using a wall. So use a wall if you know that this is a challenging pose for you to be in it for 10 breaths. And then also use the chair or use a different posture like elbow dog, right? So you can use elbow dog instead. This is all jacked up. So you'll come into hands and knees and set up on your elbows, on your forearms. So this pose is not hands together. If you can, please try to have your thumbs apart and your two thumbs pointing up toward each other like there would be part of a triangle. So your index finger pointing straight to the top end of your mat and your elbows directly behind the second index, the middle finger, okay? Gazes to your thumbs. You can stay here in the elbow toe supported version of this without the feet up. And then if you want, yeah, six breaths. That's okay. I'll take it. Finish your 4 breaths. I'm done. Child's pose when you're finished. And in the last inversion handstand, I am going to go to the wall for this one because I know I can't hold handstand for a minute. I don't even care if I ever do that in life. So 10 breaths is about a minute. So that's what we're going to do. 10 breaths for your handstand hold. You could go back into downward facing dog, or you could put a chair at the end of your mat so your feet can step up onto the chair seat and take like that staff pose. If you can kick up to the wall and hold headstand for a minute, do that. You're going to push your head into the wall. Okay. So not starting like that, right? So starting in downward facing dog, about 6 to 8 inches away from the wall. And then I'm going to step forward, and then I'm going to hop up, and then I'm going to push the top of my head forward into the wall. So your feet might come off here, but you're looking down to the wall right past your fingers, or right down to the floor past your fingers. Slowly lower down and land in child's pose. So I'm sure those 10 breaths were not a full minute. They get to be a little faster in inversion, and that's fine. I don't care about time. It's just counting your breath. It just gives you that great focus and meditative quality to this practice, counting your breath. And take a few extra breaths here in child's pose. All right, and then we'll come up to seated. And then I'm going to come onto the back. Left leg out straight. And then you can take Supta Padangusthasana here, or you can start to pull this foot down above your head for reclining split. You can even really kind of get the heel if you want there. The foot kind of goes out to the side a little. Okay, and then release that. Right leg down. On the second side, take your left leg up. And you can get that left big toe and take the supine forward fold, the supine hand to big foot or hand to big toe. And then you can take it into that reclining split. I don't know if this knee is going to work with me today. Down and out. Keep pushing out through your right foot. Keep pressing through your left toe into your fingers if you've got the big toe grip. So it's not really out here, okay? It's up by your ear. It's kind of like that Akarna Dhanurasana, the archer's bow, but we're not holding the foot, the right foot. Okay, and then release that left leg down. If you need any additional postures, if you need happy baby or reclining twist, knees to chest, a little back bend like a bridge, easy bridge pose, do so here. And just take a rest. And count 20 breaths here, and I'll leave you to finish counting your breath and finish up your practice. But 20 rounds of breaths, so at least 2 minutes, and then keep adding on 10 extra counts whenever you finish the 20. Maybe you can count to 30, maybe 40, maybe 50, and just stay there for as long as you've got. All right, good job, yogis. Thanks for practicing with me.